For the 22nd time in program history and the 4th time under Tommy Lloyd, we're going to the Sweet 16. Let's pass the Sweet 16 this time, though.
Welcome on into the AZ Wildcats postgame show, live from Studio K, presented by the fine folks over at Circle K. It is I, your host, Damon Fairall, aka Damon Dog. This is my guy, Kevin Thomas, aka Kevo Post. We are the AZ Wildcats podcast. We are presented by our presenting sponsor of Branded Bills. Head on over to brandedbills.com, use promo code BBPHNX and get 15% off your first order. Again, that's over at brandedbills.com. Check out the best Arizona Wildcats headwear selection in the game. I was actually just at the Arizona bookstore and I was locked in on the Branded Bills section, Kevin. But man, Arizona gets a win, survive in advance. The definition of it did not give me the most confidence in the world the way that second half went. Utah State put in a shift in that second half, made things close, made things scary, but ultimately Arizona is moving on and going to the Sweet 16 for the 4th time in 5 years of the Tommy Lloyd era. Kevin Thomas, how are we feeling, sir?
Ordinarily, I'd be very sweaty right now sitting behind that MacBook so close to the light, but man, that game was so damn close. And this is March. Like, this is the time of year where, and that was a great reminder where even if you're up by, however much Arizona reached, I think it was like 18 at one point in this game, whatever it was. Even when you reach that high of a lead, the other team is never going to go away. Because why? They might not play another game if they just go away.
Yeah.
Right? If they give in, their season is over. For a lot of the seniors on that other team, their career is over. So this was a great reminder, I think, for those Arizona guys that, hey, if you go up by 16, 18, 12, make it 20. Make it 22. Really put the foot on their neck, because this was a situation where Utah State really tried to shock the world tonight. Really tried to shock the world and almost did it. Arizona did a great job. And, I was talking to Saul and Corey about this in the group chat. Like, Arizona was so much better than these dudes from an athletic, from a skill set perspective, with respect to Utah State. We're talking about different levels of athletes here.
Yeah.
That unless they truly blew it, they were not going to lose this game tonight. But we have a team with a guy named Darius Acuff coming up next. And if you're going to mess around against Utah State and let them get close, they might not finish you off. They might not actually hit the dagger and kill you, but Darius Acuff will. So I think this is a great wake-up call for Arizona to learn a lesson without getting caught and exposed in front of the world. Brayden, Burries, Krivas, Bradley, way to bring us home. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into Krivas a little bit later, but man, yeah, I think that this was an extremely underwhelming performance from Arizona, but credit to Utah State because they did not go away and they did make it hard for Arizona to close the game. And I think we should start there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was the game I think I kind of envisioned, Kevin. As you said, this is a team that has, a lot of confidence going into this game, was dominated their conference all season long. Feels like they got screwed a little bit with the seed that they got in this tournament. And it felt like, a situation where I think, Utah State was always going to make this thing at least interesting. And it was going to be about how Arizona responded. And as they have all season long, there was a prompt response where it didn't get too on edge. I mean, you obviously, it got within a possession there, 3 points at one point, but, immediate response there. And then of course the guys that bring you home, as you know, like Jaden Bradley, the closer, the guy who's done it all year, has that massive and one. Mo Krivas, just offensive rebound after offensive rebound, getting you extra possessions. Arizona dominates the boards tonight in large part because of the Lithuanian Giants performance, as my co-host would say. But then you have Brayden Burries with the shot of his life, another logo three. as you said, Kevin. And yeah, I mean, it was the response you needed, and it was also the response I think that shows you the makeup of this Arizona team. Obviously, things are tight. Obviously, you're not going to be feeling your best at that point in time, but you still found a way to have that proper response, and it makes me feel decent. But it also, this game probably was a little bit closer than it should have been.
Yeah, and like I said to start the pod, that was a lesson for these young cats like Burries, Peat, some of these young dudes who have not been in a March Madness scenario before. That like we talked about on the watch along. I talked about it on Twitter. I expected second half adjustments from the staff, and we got those. Arizona came out in the second half and was killing Utah State. Yeah. And I think that maybe there was a little bit of, okay, every other game we played, this is where the other team lays down and dies. This is where the other team, takes one last final run from us, and then we start shaking hands and signing autographs and going home. But that's not what happens in March. The other team will not go away. Even Long Island, right? Like, you just beat them so bad that there wasn't a last-ditch punch from them. But unless you're up a gajillion in the last 10, like, that other team is going to play until the buzzer hits 0. And so I think that this was a good lesson for them, that you can make all the adjustments you want in the second half, come out, execute them to perfection. But if you don't finish the full 40 in March, there will be a team that catches you. So I think that this was a rough game to have to sit through as an Arizona fan, because you're sitting there like, don't let this be the one. You know what I mean? Like, don't let this be the one that we're talking about, having nightmares about for decades to come, and this is how it ends. No, this team was not going to let that happen. Those nerves did creep in, but man, what a lesson to learn from Utah State. They really tried to teach it to you today.
Especially a tough game to sit through as an Arizona fan if you have to sit next to this guy right here in your ear being like, oh my God, oh no. Oh,
to be fair, you didn't go full crazy person today.
I mean,
you're pretty calm.
Honestly, Kevin, I think that calmness was like a response to how actually nervous I was.
Yeah, I think it was pretty clear at the nerve level after Burries hit that 3, because it was like the demons were expelled from his body. If you were watching the watch along, if you weren't, go back and scrub to that moment. Because
I think I screamed 3 times for as much wind as my lungs could give me there. And yeah, you're right. I mean, like I might have masked it as like I was just doing the chill guy, just hands in the pockets. But in reality, it was SpongeBob deleting the files. It's fire in the brain. Like, things were not good up here.
100%. But I do want to talk a little bit to you about that performance and kind of how you feel about it going forward. Because I obviously, with the way I've led the pod, I feel kind of, optimistic about this. I feel like it's a lesson in a way, right? How do you feel? Because I think you let off the pod saying that it kind of gives you a little bit of worry going forward into the tournament. Maybe I've misheard you. But how do you feel about this?
Sorry to cut you off. It's weird. It's kind of like it's kind of a both situation where I'm like, it almost gives me confidence that they're going to be able to respond in these moments like they have all season, because I mean, you can get eliminated in this one, and it becomes a 3-point game. Utah State has all the momentum. They have a decent fan contingency out there. I mean, this would have been the program win for Utah State, like, in their history. Like, that would have gone down in infamy, right? At least in modern history. And I won't speak to their all-time history, but you found a way to respond despite the momentum flipping like it did. And so that part of things is like, okay, well then this team is what they have shown us all season long in that regard. But also it showed a lot of the flaws that I think that Arizona has at times displayed this entire season. Inability to break a press, missing free throws at kind of an inefficient pace. And I guess Mo Krivas does a lot of heavy lifting in terms of your free throw numbers in this game. And, thankfully we have a big man that we can trust to go up there at the line and ice him. But like, it's the other guys on the team are not necessarily doing their part from a free throw line perspective. I just, there are flaws of this team that exist, and I think that can be exploited by the right coach. I think tonight you had that, but he didn't have the right players. I think Jared Calhoun, as I think I saw on Twitter from Tyler Warden, he outcoached Tommy Lloyd tonight, full stop, in my opinion. And that's not to say that, I think Tommy can figure it out. I don't think Tommy is in a position where he's, he choked. I think Jared Calhoun is a really, really good coach that we're probably going to see in the Big 12 next season, it sounds like, right? Like, he's there. That's been the hot rumor, him to Cincinnati. from what I've seen in the last day or two. And so I have a lot of respect for that guy and his ability to coach. I think that you got out-coached tonight to an extent, Kevin.
Only thing I hate is that Damon just suggested that, we got another elite coach coming into the Big 12 conference, because they're talking about Randy Bennett going to ASU, and I absolutely hate that. And then you bring up the idea of Calhoun going to Cincinnati, and I hate that as well. Let's bring maybe the worst coaching candidates to the Big 12 to compete with us, because I don't want any more elite coaches.
Let's get Glasser.
Shane. We have our fill of those: Bill Self, Tommy Lloyd, Kelvin Sampson, TJ Otzelberger, Grant McCaslin. I'm tired of dealing with boy geniuses. Can we have some average IQ coaches? But either way, Damon, no, you're right. Like Calhoun, I don't know necessarily without like having to go back and watch it. Like, I'm not going to say that he got out coached necessarily, but there were some moments in this game, specifically the press breaks and things like that, which I think we should just discuss that now.
Okay.
Like,
and we'll discuss it with Saul as well,
we will.
I'm sure.
But I brought up to you on the watch along a nightmare that entered my brain today. Watching St. John's and KU set offensive basketball back 60 years. I watched St. John's press Kansas and Bill Self to a point where they could not inbound the basketball properly. Kansas could not inbound the basketball properly. And I was like, Damon, new nightmare just unlocked. Arizona makes the national title. It's a multiple, like, 2-possession game, 1-possession game, and they can't even get the ball in because...
who's waiting for us? Rick Pitino's press.
Awful nightmare scenario. And then almost as if I, unfortunately spoken into existence, here comes Utah State with that St. John's press. And it's killing Arizona. Like, I understand that Brayden Burries did get fouled on a couple of those where he tried to bring it up and split a double team, and they did foul him, but they didn't call it or whatever. But... it's been way more than this game. It's been way more than, maybe the BYU game or like whatever. This team struggles to break a press, man. And I don't know what it is. I personally, like, if I was to criticize and then give a suggestion as a guy who hasn't coached a single D1 basketball game, like, I need more urgency on these like lateral passes. It's like, all right, JB pass to Burries. Now Burries is going to take a couple dribbles and then think, and then pass it back to JB, who's going to take a couple dribbles, do that, and then go at his guy and think. It's like, I need more just back and forth moving up the court is what I need. And that's how Kansas was eventually able to break St. John's press, right? Like rapid lateral passes, I guess diagonal passes. If you're literally going lateral, then you're not going anywhere. But like diagonal passes up the court is what I'm looking for. And I just need more urgency when you're trying to break the press. It feels like Arizona just is, I don't know, 10 toes down drink. But it feels like, like when you see MMA and like the dude just accepts the bottom position. Like he's just holding the guy there. He's not trying to get up, he's not trying to get to the side. It feels like Arizona is just cool being pressed, but not cool enough to break it. Does that make sense? Like, it feels like they don't play with any additional urgency when they're being pressed. It's just like, okay, we're going to bring the ball up. Oh, they're pressing. Well, let's just try to bring the ball up and see what happens. Am I tripping?
I mean, I there's certainly something going on with the press. It feels like it's, and I think Lost Highway said it in the chat there, like, it just feels like it's more Tommy Lloyd being like, the guys are going to figure it out. And if this team is going to win a national championship, then they're going to need to adapt themselves on the spot and whatnot. But that's at times, frankly, just not really good enough, I think, in the NCAA tournament in particular. You can get away with it even in the Big 12 tournament because I think Arizona fans, like, you saw it a lot during this conference tournament run of like, the main goal is what happens in the NCAA tournament. Now, it's cherry on top of the unbelievable season that you just had, right? Getting that Big 12 tournament championship. But ultimately, this is what truly matters. Like, if you had lost this game to Utah State, the Jaden Bradley shot becomes a lot less of a magic moment.
It becomes something that I bring to you in the office next year, and I'm like, oh man, remember this? How cool that was? And you're like, Kevin, I was having a good day.
I'll be like, I just don't care. It reminds me of the saddest moments of my life where a team that should have potentially won it all just got, hurdled again by a team that just had no business getting in their way. But yeah, I mean, there are times where he does the figure it out thing. And I'm like, Tommy, you just gotta, like, we have to put a stop to this. We have to go timeout. We have to reset. We have to have a different, game plan going, different plan of attack, because what you're doing is not working. It feels like they're like almost baiting a pass to go to Ivan Kharchenkov, who I think is pretty good from a playmaking standpoint. But like, this is a situation where, a freshman who's a wing, who, is not maybe the best offensive player in the world, doesn't have the highest usage on offense. That's going to be the guy that when he gets the ball, they're sending two guys hard straight at him, getting him in a trap, and then forcing him to make a really, really good pass that maybe, Brayden Burries or Jaden Bradley would be able to make, but it's a little bit more difficult for a guy like Kharchenkov. So that's where I'm just, I want Tommy to have a little bit more of a concerted game plan and effort towards, a different look. Now you've seen it in the NCAA tournament. Now it's time to go to practice over the course of this next 5 days or so that you get before your Sweet 16 matchup, and come up with a game plan that actually defeats a press, because I have yet to see it this season at a consistent level.
Dude, I want to give a shout out to the person that literally just said in the chat, "Damn, we win and you complain," because you read my mind. The only reason we led with the press breaks is because it almost put us in a position to lose to Utah State, and that scared the hell out of me. And we have been talking about the press breaks all year. But you kind of, like I said, read my mind. I was going to ask Damon, all right, we're going to the Sweet 16. Can we get some positive vibes in here? Because this is the fourth Sweet 16 in just 5 years under Tommy Lloyd. You are one step closer to that elusive Final Four.
Yeah.
And this feels like the year that Tommy Lloyd can actually advance past the Sweet 16, right? Like, you had that team that ended up losing to Clemson in the Sweet 16. You felt like should have advanced past it into the Elite Eight. You had that team that lost to Princeton, which, looking back on it, probably did not have the chops to make it past the Sweet 16 if you're losing to Princeton. But this year, this feels like the team.
It does.
This feels like a team built in Tommy Lloyd's image. This feels like a team that understands how they win games and how to avoid losing games. And by that, I mean, if we look at tonight, Arizona played a close game with Utah State, won by 12, by the way, and also out-rebounded them by, what is that, 14?
Yeah.
On just the offensive boards. Just the offensive boards. 22-8 on the offensive rebounding side of things. That is the difference in this basketball game for Arizona. Their ability to create second possessions for themselves. And in a tournament scenario where how many times down the stretch of a game you can put in like random X team, random Y team. It's a close game. One team is starting to slip behind. They're like behind by like 6, Damon. And they go for that 3 and it like goes in and out. And you're like, man, I wish we could have that one back. With Arizona, 5 times out of 10, you're probably going to get that possession back, right? Which in March is a crucial thing to have, because the ups and the downs emotionally in this game, when you have a guy like Mo Krivas, who we're going to talk about more, trust me on that. When you have a guy like Mo Krivas in a close game like this, grabbing every offensive board down the stretch, if you're Utah State, that is back-breaking stuff. Back-breaking stuff. You are fighting tooth and nail to stay in this game with a 1 seed, and you're forcing misses. Good defense. And you can't finish the defensive possession with a defensive rebound. That is demoralizing. That is back-breaking. And for Arizona, it is game-winning. That is how you finish teams in the end. So, yeah, I definitely, I wanted to start the show giving off credit to Utah State. I wanted to talk about the press break. But this team feels like, because of that dominance that they have on the boards, the team that could really advance past the Sweet 16 and really make some noise. I'm sure you feel the same way, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's this team's superpower. It has been all season long. They all kind of go hand in hand, but it's the physicality, the athleticism, the height, the size, and that becomes rebounding in a weird way, right? Or as well as defense and post defense in particular, post offense as well. Like, that's just what this team does. And I don't want to, I agree with you. Like, this should be a positive show. And
yes.
Early on, we're talking about some of the negatives. And I think that, from my perspective, at least, that's just because I have such high expectations for this team. This team, to me, is our best shot since Sean Miller in, 2015, essentially, to really end that drought, get over that hump that, that occupies all of our headspace all the time, right? And so when you're in a second round kind of a dogfight with a team that, is clawing back, but is nowhere near the caliber of team that I think you even expect to play against later on in this tournament, that's concerning to me. And that's where, it's like, okay, well, what do we have to do to get from point A to point B so that we're more prepared for the next one, right? But you're right. Like 4 Sweet 16s in 5 years, 3 straight under Tommy Lloyd. Is it the end goal at Arizona? No one's saying it is. This program is a top 10 program, arguably a top 5 job at the moment. And you need to go further in March Madness and finally, break down that curse, if you will. But at the same time, this has been a great start to the Tommy Lloyd era, and it's not over yet because now upcoming, this next game is the biggest game of the Tommy Lloyd era, and I don't even think it's close.
Every game from here on out is the biggest game of your life if you're
Absolutely.
on this team. Hopefully they don't play like that. You know what I mean? Hopefully they play like it's just any other game and they're here to dominate their opponent. But I do want to give a shout out to White Burrito in the chat with the $5 super chat. At work, gonna have to watch later. BTFD, not the greatest, but it felt like a needed one. Of course it was a needed one. It's March Madness. You need every single one you can get, White Burrito. Time to look ahead, win and move on. Let's go. Thank you for your support of this podcast. I hope Taquito is doing well, White Burrito. Thank you for your super chat as well. But Damon, before we move on to like our player of the game and by the numbers and stuff like that, I do want to talk more about Tommy Lloyd because this does feel like the team that could advance past the Sweet 16, past the Elite Eight, maybe into the Final Four, and maybe onto a national title, right? I feel like with Tommy Lloyd, we're witnessing the foundations of an all-time great head basketball coach. 4 Sweet 16s in his first 5 years at Arizona. And no, that's not like, oh, he was really successful at Kentucky with multiple national titles and then just wandered on down to Tucson. This is his first gig as a head coach. 4 Sweet 16s in 5 seasons. I want to remind the people that after Arizona loses games, starts pawning off Tommy Lloyd to any program in America that will, highest bidder him. Let's pause, pump the brakes on criticizing, Tommy Lloyd as in a big picture sense. You can criticize him, in a vacuum, individual things that he does that maybe you don't fancy or whatever. But if you don't think he's the guy to lead this program to where it needs to go, I need some of what you're smoking because you sound like you are not on the same planet as me. Like, you think a guy like Caleb Holt's not watching this game and being like, okay, that was ugly, but they won. And now what? Let's see what they do about Arkansas coming up next, right? I think that this is the type of coach that kids want to play for. I put it out on Twitter earlier, and this is not like, there's a million ways to eat a Reese's cup. There's no one perfect way to do it. Right. But there's
that's another one we're going to have to add to the drinking list.
But you really are. I might say that one the most, but
I don't even know where the origin of that is from. Did you make that up?
No, there was a MMA journalist that I think said that I took it from, but I think it's a cleaner version of saying there's more than one way to skin a pig. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Either way though, like the way Mick Cronin coaches, right? Like loud, demonstrative, angry kind of energy, right? It takes a special kind of player to want to play for that guy. That's not like a diss. That's just the way things are. You have to be willing to take that drill sergeant mentality, right? Tommy Lloyd has much more of a player's first program, right? And that is something that in the modern era of basketball is huge. A player's first program with a guy who coaches for Team USA has led you to 4 out of 5 Sweet 16s and now has a chance with his best team yet to date to make that elusive Final Four. So yeah, I wanted to start there. Like this program is on absolute fire right now. 22nd Sweet 16, 4 and 5 years under Tommy. You got another McDonald's All-American coming in next year. You got 2 on this year's team. Arizona, the brand is rolling. Speaking of rolling, we're going to roll on into Saul Bookman after our first break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. So leave a like. Most importantly, I see a lot of people in here lurking, not liking. Don't lurk, like. And then we'll be right back. Don't lurk, like. But you know what I love? Some pure edibles, Damon. Pure edibles. I was enjoying them the other night watching an ocean documentary on Netflix. Maybe one of the coolest things you can do with pure edibles is learn about the handfish in the bottom of the ocean. But if you are not like me and you want some of the sleep stuff, they got some of the good sleep stuff too, because this is a full-fledged candy company offering a variety of everything from kicks, like a hard candy, or their Starburst kind of vibe, hard candies, gummies, chewable kind of caramel kind of vibes, everything with CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana-derived THC. Who says happy hour has to end? not Pure Edibles and Noble Road Dispensary, and their new Tower Station IPA all-in-one. It's happy hour all the time, or should I say happy hour all the time. If you're in Arizona, swing by local select dispensaries and grab your Tower Station all-in-one from Noble Road. Cheers to happy hour all day, every day. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries that dispense them statewide.
Pure Edibles is a staple of this state, and of course, another one, Window Depot. If you guys are looking for your home renovation project in 2026, of course, the start of the new year, the end of the first quarter here, it's time to get on those home renovation projects, and the Window Depot is the only spot to go to, whether you're a contractor, maybe you're just doing one job for your own home. Anyone is welcome at the Window Depot. There's no subscription required. You can show up anytime. And of course, they have 7 locations all across the great state of Arizona, started in Tucson, which of course we love over here on the AZ Wildcats pod, but they got locations in Phoenix, Marana, Chandler, as well as their Tucson location. Contractors and homeowners alike love the Window Depot because you get quick access, of course, the cheapest prices points possible on this kind of stuff. They have tons of stock options as well, way more than their competitors. So visit thewindowdepot.com and get started on your next project today. Stop in and give the Window Depot a call. Their team will help you get exactly what you need. Stop by one of your Window Depot 7 Arizona locations and see for yourself why they're way more than just a window store. Starting to get some Arkansas fans flowing here in the chat.
Welcome.
Kevin, can I tell you right away, I could tell, not even, obviously they throw in the WPS, Woo Pig Suey, but I saw the name Dontrell, and I knew for a fact it was an Arkansas fan. That is an Arkansas name. I've fought with these guys on Twitter before. I'm pretty sure they're all named something like Dontrell Wesley. And then you have another one spelling Coming, Coming. So that's another telltale sign that it's an Arkansas fan. Very misspelled, easily spelling words.
Well, on that note, let's bring in Saul Bookman, the one, the only, the Saul. Saul, what do you?
It's time to go to war.
What were some of your vibes on that game? Arizona nearly blows it in a way against Utah State, but we were talking about it before you joined. They're way too talented, way too skilled to lose this kind of type of game, but they tried about their hardest with those press breaks to give it away there. What were some of your vibes?
Never worried. Never worried. I don't know what you guys were on, but I was never worried. I was like, hey, man, we're up 4. It's all good.
Yeah, you've done this all year.
I'm kidding. Listen, yeah, it got a little unnerving there for a second. But again, I think personally, I keep falling back to they always find a way. And you always find a way until you don't find a way. And they've done it 33 other times. This is the 34th. There was no reason to think otherwise. So I was confident that they would find a way. And, if I didn't know where the answer was going to come, shame on me. I should have known that answer was going to come in the form of Jaden Bradley because, he kind of took it on his own to make something happen down the stretch. And he came through in a big way. So also, I just want to say, I know this is big time now. I know we're prime time now. When I got you two guys sitting next to each other in the studio, we have
100%.
We have hit the next level, folks.
When they get me out the basement, they're like, all right, it's a big game. Let's feed Kevin, give him some water, take him out the basement, and let him loose. But
get him some sunlight.
Yeah, I did want to say, Saul, you mentioned something there. Jaden Bradley taking us home. We opened this show including Jaden Bradley and a trio of players that actually took you home. Krivas and Burries also played huge roles down the stretch. What did you see specifically with JB that has you walking away from this game saying, no, the clothes are closed today?
Yeah, because when everything was melting down, he's the one that came up with the answer to calm everything down. Without his buckets down the stretch, I don't know what happens. And listen, I'm not trying to throw any shade, but Krivas was not really necessarily a part of this part. But Brayden Burries was a little shook. He was frustrated. You could see it when they got that 10-second call. He was a little upset. They were unnerved and they were trying to figure things out. And so Jaden was just like, all right, I got it. I got it. And then once he settled it down again, Brayden Burries hits the big 3. Krivas was absolutely outstanding around the rim all game long. He was so good. You could see the immediate impact he has when he's on the court, which is something that I don't know if we necessarily would have said to this degree earlier in the season. Certainly not in the preseason, but he came through in a big time way. And so, Brayden, all three of them contributed in some way, shape, or form. However, it was Jaden Bradley, the instigator, the one that initially went and popped the trunk, and then he got the other pieces to give to everybody else to help him out. That's it.
And I popped the trunk. I popped the hood. Anyway, I did want to ask you, Saul. You mentioned Mo Krivas there. He is our king of the court tonight, Mo Krivas is, for his effort, specifically on the offensive rebounding side of things. He finishes with a double-double, yet another double-double for Mo Krivas this year. But the offensive rebounds down the stretch, Saul, invaluable. Can you speak to how big he was for this team today?
I mean, yeah. It felt like Utah State wasn't missing, for a stretch there, and Arizona couldn't make. Heck, Arizona couldn't even get a shot off in some cases. So, Krivas' offensive rebounding or defensive rebounding and offensive rebounding were both huge on the defensive end, especially because I just felt like if Utah State was able to figure out second opportunities, they were going to cash them in, and this thing would have really been dicey. But Krivas on the defensive end was fantastic, and then offensively, getting yourself more possessions, which is something that was a key to the game coming in anyway. Utah State, not a very good defensive rebounding team. It showed in a couple key possessions tonight, and it cost them the game. So, and that's in a large part because of Krivas. So, again, Big Mo's improved so much this season, and you're going to need him again against Arkansas because that's a team that's they're well coached. We know what Coach Cal's all about, and they're going to try and get a dub against them so they can get to the Elite Eight for the first time in the Tommy Lloyd era.
This one was obviously scary, Saul, at a point, but Utah State is also a really good team. I mean, I think that their response, proved kind of, what their makeup was. What did you see out of the Aggies tonight, in just terms of maybe trying to suppress Arizona fans acting like the sky is falling because you beat a good basketball team by 12?
Yeah. Well, listen, I think you're talking about a team that won their conference. They had 29 wins on the season. They felt very, very good about themselves. They just beat a Big East opponent, which can kind of inflate, your ego, for lack of a better word. And when you don't lack confidence and you feel like you should win these games, or you feel like you should be able to compete in these games, you're going to find a way to get back in it. And every team in this tournament, especially in the round of 32, is going to find a way to get back in these games. And you saw, High Point played a phenomenal game against Arkansas, almost won the game yesterday against Arkansas. You see all these others. Iowa beats Florida. Iowa has no business beating Florida. But, again, it's March, and they found a way. And again, these teams are very, very good. And it's just the smallest of differences that really separate the great from the good and the good from the average. And the average are all at home now. These are all good to great teams from here on out. You're not playing any bums. You're not playing. There's nobody you can look past. Everybody's coming with it. If Texas should beat, I forget. Purdue. They're an 11 seed on paper. Arizona should go to the Final Four if they had to match up with them and if they beat Arkansas. But
somebody called Texas a Cinderella on Twitter today, Saul.
From a seed perspective, yeah, they are.
I was just
from a seed perspective, they absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are they really? No. They're a Sean Miller coach team. Sean Miller coach teams always play hard. They're going to give you everything they got. But the knock on Sean Miller coach teams were they could never get past the Elite Eight. They could never rise up above. And we saw this movie before. We've seen an underdog team come out of nowhere, a Sean Miller coached underdog team come out of nowhere and damn near go to the Final Four when it did it against UConn or beat the brakes off of Duke back in 2011 and almost beat UConn. If Jamel Horn hits a three-pointer, Arizona's going to the Final Four, and nobody had Arizona in the Final Four in that bracket. I promise you that. So this would not be a surprise to see that team get that far. So, again, that's 4 quality opponents, Arkansas, Texas, and Purdue, and it's going to be a bloodbath. It absolutely is.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, you're right. There's nothing but elite teams left, and Arkansas is a team that has a ton of momentum right now. They've won their SEC championship, and their Darius Acuff is about as good as any player in college basketball. Want to get back more into this game here in a second. But how exciting is that matchup, Darius Acuff versus Brayden Burries?
I mean, it's going to be electric. It's going to be electric, and he's a different player than we've seen with like AJ DeBonta and Kingston Flemings, because he can facilitate just as well as he can score, and that's the scary part about Darius Acuff. So, Arizona's going to come with a game plan. I promise you that. And they don't have just one day to prepare; they have 3. And so I'm fully confident that they'll be able to figure things out, get everything back on track in terms of like their strategy, and they'll come with a very solid plan against Cal and his team. Darius is not to be taken lightly. Everybody on this team, I guarantee you, knows it. They expect it. They expect everybody's best, and they're probably going to get that come Thursday. But you have to beat good teams in order to go to the Final Four. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I would say this, out of the teams that Tommy Lloyd has faced in the Sweet 16, outside of Houston, maybe his first year going to the Sweet 16, I would say that Arkansas is the best of the group that they've had to play so far in the Sweet 16. So this is not going to be a cakewalk. This is not some layup for the Arizona Wildcats to just kind of breeze on by. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Purdue and Texas as well. So nobody in the Sweet 16 is a lightweight and an easy pushover. Every team has challenged everyone. And this Wildcats team has been up for the challenge for the most part, and hopefully they can continue and get to the Elite Eight.
Now, I do have some more questions for you about Arkansas, but I will save those for towards the tail end of your podcast appearance here today. I do want to talk more about this Utah State game. I said on Twitter, I said it on the watch along, I expect a big second half adjustment from Arizona. They are a team that does well with downloading data in the first half and then using that data to kill their opponent in the second half and put it out of reach. What did you see from a second half adjustment standpoint? What was Arizona doing throughout the game that have shifted, that evolved in your eyes?
Honestly, I think they got more paint touches, but I think more importantly, I think they were caught off guard by the frequency of the press that Utah State threw at them. That slowed them down, rattled them a little bit. And it almost shut off the lights, unlike you guys. You just turned on the lights. So,
Shane's going through his first on the sun scenario in the AZ Wildcats podcast post-game history. This goes down every once in a while with the motion lights in the office when there's
it happens every time there's a sun show and we're doing this show.
A maintenance woman or man comes in and sets off the motion lights. Ayrton just walked by, hence why the motion lights went off. But either way,
it's part of our drinking game.
It is a part of the drinking game. It's like a bingo card on the AZ Wildcats post-game pod. You get MMA mentioned, me saying out over my skis, or multiple ways to eat a Reese's, and then the lights going off. Mm-hmm. Sean saying, as is tradition.
BYU fans, hand up.
But you were saying, Saul, about them getting more paint touches in this game.
Yeah, just being aggressive. To start that second half, I thought they were very aggressive, getting to the line, getting to the rim, hitting some big buckets. And I thought when they went up by 18, like that was it. They were borderline on another run of death. They had a 9-0 run, and it looked like they were about to put Utah State to sleep. But again, you got to credit the Aggies for fighting back and getting back into this one.
That's something I wanted to ask you about, because you are a man with much more wisdom than me and Damon Dog combined, right? When these young freshmen are going through that type of scenario, right, where you've played 33 games or 30 however many games up to this point, right? And you have pushed teams in the second half. You've taken their best punch. You've delivered a better punch. Usually teams just die at that point. In the tournament, teams are never going to say die because the season is on the line. Do you think that was a valuable lesson for some of these younger guys who have not played in a tournament setting, that, hey, you can be up by 18, feel damn good about your second half adjustments, and still almost let it slip away if you don't execute?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You can't help but feel that way now. I think Tommy Lloyd's message is like, you can never let your foot off the gas. We've done it all season long. That's all well and good. We've always found a way to overcome it. Cool. I think you all understand now that when you're up 18, you need to feel the pressure of increasing that lead to give yourself a little bit more comfortability as you go along, to be honest with you. Because what happened in this game is when that lead shrunk and kept shrinking and kept shrinking and kept shrinking and it went all the way down to 4, you could see the nerves start to creep up a little bit. Players got a little tighter. Things got a little chaotic, hectic. Utah State was flying around. They were feeling themselves. I really felt like there was no juice with this team until that moment, to be honest with you. I felt like Arizona was just doing their daily business, But I didn't feel the juice. I didn't feel any like, I don't know. It just felt like something was, even with the crowd. Like I didn't feel like it was like raucous. And but when that lead shrunk to 4, boom, here comes Arizona. And it started off by Jaden. Obviously, Brayden hit a big 3. Everybody chipped in to some degree here and there. Just a phenomenal performance down the stretch in the last 5 minutes of the game, and this is why Arizona is one of the favorites. Heading into the next round of 16, because they have guys that have been there, done that, and have executed down the stretch in Jaden Bradley specifically.
Now, Saul, before we keep diving back into this game, I want to talk about some of our good sponsors. So if you are here, leave a like if you like basketball. If you're here, I better see a 100% like rate, and drink your water. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If you love the NFL Draft, then this is your edge. The Die Hard NFL Draft Guide is built and based off of thousands of hours of film study, being boots on the ground, Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, Combine, talking to scouts, talking to coaches, really getting a feel for where these players are best going to fit and project in the NFL. And we're talking hundreds of players in this class.
This is the best draft breakdown Cardinals fans can find. It's all inside Fran Duffy's 2026 NFL Draft Guide at GoPHNX.com. We're talking scheme fits, positions of need, and prospects that are going to define the offseason, setting Michael Floor potentially up for success, keeping Monty Floor employed.
All right, so what are you going to find in the guide? Well, you're going to find player comps. You're going to find strengths, weaknesses, physical tools, analytics, highlights, analysis from all across the space, everything you need to try and determine who are the best players for your team. You get access to the guide if you're a diehard, and you'll also get access to a couple of individual breakdowns I'm doing specifically for your team. All right, look, if you want surface level breakdowns, you can get them anywhere, but if you want independent thought, if you want thorough breakdowns on all of these prospects, become a diehard, get the guide. Or you can get access to the 2026 guide for just $26. Let's win draft season.
And if you've been involved in some sort of accident involving serious injury or wrongful death, Mark and Alexis Breyer are the only number to call. The husband and wife law team, putting together generations of combined experience out here in the Valley. They get it done. They have tons of real trial experience, and they're specialists. Less than 1% of all lawyers certified by the Arizona State Bar are specialists in injury and wrongful death. But guess who are specialists? Yeah, you guessed it. Those two beautiful folks down there, and also the rest of their law team. So if you want an attorney you can trust, the husband and wife law team are the team for you. They actually go to trial. They're trial lawyers. If the case needs trial, you know what I always say, they're ready for that smoke. Of course, nobody can guarantee that you win a case or guarantee the outcome of a case, but they're going to tell you both the strengths and the weaknesses of your case. So you're working with a full deck of cards, and that is a very beautiful thing. And another beautiful thing is you can cancel their fee agreement at any time for any reason. If it's just not working out, don't feel like you're trapped into any sort of contract. They just want to help you get to where you need to be with your case. If you've had a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website in our show notes below. Let them know these two boys, and hell, tell them Shane too sent you over.
Thank you to everyone who is here in the chat watching this show. Like this video if you haven't done so already, and subscribe to the channel. We do this thing, pregame, postgame show for every Arizona basketball and football game. And of course, we got watch-alongs on the horizon for now until the end of the tournament. Cannot wait for it. Our guy Saul Bookman is boots on the ground in San Diego right now. And we are asking Saul and just really just absorbing from Saul all of the information that he has to share with the people. What's up?
Here's some information. I don't know what's going on back here, but this is very unusual. Right over here. Oh, right there. All right. See those guys? That's the Utah State team. I don't know why they're still here. They usually leave by now. But something's going on. I don't know if they missed their bus or what, but I will say this. Mason Falslev was out here while you guys were doing your ad read, and I looked over, and he just kind of walked out to the middle of the court and was just kind of looking around. Yeah. And, absorbing the moment, and listen, they absolutely should. They won their conference. They had a great season. They lost to one of the best teams in the country. There's no shame in that. And they played hard, and they made it a game in the second half. Like, kudos to them. Like, props to Aggie fans and the ones that traveled out here. Like, they deserve love. And as I speak, he's right behind me. And so it's kind of cool, like how they They found their way through this. It's really crazy what's going on. I don't know what's happening.
It's like you're in McHale.
The whole squad is coming through. So, yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah,
want
anyway.
to give a comment on?
I actually think they're about to jump on somebody's show over here in the
Wow.
corner, which is kind of crazy. So.
Oh.
I mean, and they beat a massive program in Villanova to get there too. That's also, I think, something to hang your hat on as a check mark, as a program, to say, we went out there, we beat like a team that's like a borderline top 10 program of all time, a team that's won multiple national championships pretty recently in way of this season. So yeah, I mean, they had a great season. You could tell that was a team that played with a ton of confidence. Obviously, Saul, they made an adjustment at a certain point in this game, and you talked about it a little bit in terms of breaking the press. But I want to dive more deeper into it. How are you experiencing this? Because you obviously approach the game a little bit different from a breakdown standpoint than say me or Kevin does. And I think from my perspective, it's something I've brought up to you in these post games all season long. Of like, it's my one thing with Tommy that I sit there and I go, how are we not just instilling a very, very clear-cut game plan in these players of what to do when certain presses are thrown your way? Because it feels like it's a lot of like Tommy being like, the guys are going to figure it out like he does often. So what are you seeing with the press break, and how can Arizona look more comfortable with it moving forward? Because I think every team's going to do this now after watching this game.
Well, I mean, teams have done it, and they have adjusted a little bit. But again, I think player tendencies kind of get in the way a little bit. There are certain fundamental things against the press that you just do not do. A, get stuck in the corner. B, use the sideline to your disadvantage. And C, not keep the ball in the middle of the floor. You have to constantly be anticipating what the next move is. And you have to be willing to take a gamble every now and then, throw the ball over the top of a defense, along with side to side. But if you throw the ball side to side too many times, the defense could kind of figure that out and slow you down, and you see results like we saw today in a 10-second call. Like, you can't have that stuff. I think that there's a couple opportunities for, for instance, if we were playing against a 1-3-1 press, right? Typically you have your inbounder that would be on one side of the court, another one, and the opposite corner or the half court. Somebody that would be ideally at half court would come middle. So you have your back. You have your middle throw, and then if all else fails, you can throw it over the top. And I think far too many times, these guys are looking just for this one guy right here instead of looking for the middle or over the top. And I think that's just an example of something that they can modify as they move forward. In addition to throwing different kinds of wrinkles in terms of their press break, they have to have multiple different press breaks for what these guys are throwing at them. And they just haven't done that to a high level. I'm sure they will anticipate that this is going to happen again. I'm not worried about it. I haven't really been too worried about it. I know they've gotten stuck a couple times, but it's the tournament. That is going to happen. We have seen that with other teams trying to break press breakers, and they have also gotten stuck. So not the end of the world. How many 5-second calls have we seen in this tournament already? Oh, my God. I feel like I've seen more 5-second calls in this tournament than I had all season long combined.
10 in the St. John's game today. That's a hyperbolic number.
Yeah, and so like you're seeing the intensity on defense, and teams just not letting up at all, not giving you a little inch because they know that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Now, Saul, I do understand we have some clips from you. You were in the locker room live talking to these players, and I think we have Toby Awaka talking about the adversity that the team faced today, and I think that would be a good place to start here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just our chemistry and our trust in one another. I think we have a really solid preparation that truly believes, in each other. And I think that when adversity hits, it's, we kind of look each other in the eye and know that, he has our back. So
the questions or somebody?
You asked a question. What were your thoughts on the answer?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't hear I could say my question, but I couldn't hear what their answers were. So this is the first time I'm hearing that as well. I just sent the clips and hope that you guys could figure it out on that end.
See, that's a beautiful thing, because usually you know exactly what's going to be said, and I think it's going to be nice to get a live Saul reaction to some of these clips. But what Toby Awaka, I believe, was kind of talking about there was his teammates picking each other up, having trust in one another when adversity hits, and kind of leaning on what you've been through as a team. Yeah,
listen, you're going to get a lot of cookie cutter answers. It's going to be the same thing over and over again. If you go to Koa Peat, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of the same thing too, where it's just like, I trust my teammates. They have my back. And I just need to, make sure that I'm out there for them and play better at a high level. Like I feel like that's the quote unquote template of Koa Peat's answers. And Toby Walker reflected that. They're not going to sit there and be like, yeah, man, that shit got crazy out there. Like they're never going to say that, which I wish sometimes they would. They'd be like, bro, I don't know what the heck we were doing.
Hey, let Caleb Holt get on this team. He seems like the one that might start, firing off a little bit.
Everybody gets that coach out of him. I promise you that.
He says he's Anthony Edwards, Saul. Anthony Edwards is that way around the damn president of the United States. So
we'll see. But yeah, again, the way they handled it is not anything unusual. They've been doing this all year long. It got a little unnerving today. It did, but they always figure it out.
Toby Awaka talking about the adversity that this team faced and, just kind of the mental fortitude that his teammates showed in those moments. Koa Peat also talking about his teammates stepping up at the end of this game.
I think my teammates definitely picked me up. I got to stay in foul trouble, especially in these tight games like that. But I thought, we knew Utah State's a really good team. They were going to make some runs. So, just trying to stay composed. We made our free throws down the stretch, which were big. Mo was big. Brayden hit a big three. I mean, that was super clutch. JB, JB doing JB things. So everybody came together, and we didn't get too high or low. Just stayed even kill.
That is one thing about this team, Saul, that we've talked about till we're blue in the face, and people might be even tired of hearing about it. But their mentality is that of a pro, right? Even when adversity hits, you trust every other dude out there on the court with you to make a play, and you just have to do your job, have that 0-0 possession by possession mentality, and keep it pushing. What were your thoughts on, kind of a cookie cutter answer there from Koa Peat, as you would say, but him talking about his teammates picking him up?
Yeah, I think that's that point. Koa Peat, I believe, was like a plus 25 tonight.
His best rebounding game of the year. Not actually, but it felt that way.
Coincidence.
Yeah, his impact was felt out there. Like when he was on the court, Arizona was decidedly better, but he got himself into foul trouble. And I thought, maybe a couple of those calls were a little questionable, but it is what it is. And he's right; he does have to stay on the court. He can't get himself kicked out of a game because of fouls. Like he's got to be on the court, and he is lucky that he has good teammates to pick him up, which is what he said. So again, this is prototypical Arizona basketball in 2026. One guy's off, another guy picks it up, and so on and so forth. Rinse and repeat until the next time. So, until there is not a next time. And I think these guys learned tonight that could be the case if they F around and find out, and they don't want to go down that road again, I'm sure. So I think tonight was probably the best case scenario in terms of not really being too close to danger, but being close enough to where you felt it and you didn't like it. And so you want to try and avoid it moving forward.
Entering that danger zone. Shout out to Archer if you know. But Saul, you talk about how it can be anybody on any given night with this Arizona team. And part of the reason we spoke on it earlier, why you were able to ride the ebbs and the flows of this game was the offensive rebounding and the consistency of Motiejus Krivas. The Lithuanian, visit Lithuania, 7'2" big man. This is Kharchenkov talking about Big Mo.
Man, big time. All his little tip ins, rebounds, free throws, just the presence of what he has on the paint. Big time. We need that every game.
And this is not something that's new, right? Like when Kharchenkov, friend of me and Damon's program here,
best friend,
when he came on the show, and I asked him like, "Hey man, like what allows you to, play so aggressively on the perimeter and still, have no fouls or have however many fouls you have to that point in the year?" And he goes, "Hey, that big fella in the paint that I can funnel guys to, and that I can get aggressive, and if they get past me, they got to get past him. He plays a huge role in this defense." And I mean, we knew it at that point, but preseason, no idea the impact that Motiejus Krivas could have on this year's team, the development that he could see. Tonight, I think we saw just about all of it in so many different ways. One more time, what did you see for Krivas tonight, Saul?
I mean, as Yvonne said, sometimes you just need the tip, and the tip is right there for you. And that's how he's been able to keep the balls alive as much as, man, I feel like I'm just saying some bad innuendos right now. He keeps the ball alive for his teammates to be able to be active and help out on the offensive side of the ball and even on the defensive side of the ball from time to time. There was a lot of times where the ball would be deflected out or batted away from a Utah State player for his teammates to be able to get those rebounds, and that's the things that you don't really see on a score box. So overall, his impact on the defensive side is you could just feel it. You could just feel it when he comes out of the game. And Toby Awaka has been fantastic this season, but there's a different feel at the rim when Toby's out there versus Mo. And I don't think we really quite understood that to the degree that we needed to until maybe the last month. And then we realized, man, Mo has grown so damn much this year that he went from being somebody that you're like, yeah, like he's a good player, but I don't know if like he's a reliable player, to like, dude, he has to be out there every single time, every single minute. Like it's not even a question. Like he has to be out there playing with Tobe if you want to, that's fine, but he has to be out there no matter what. And that's a godsend. It really is, because not everybody has that luxury.
It was a bit of a debate, in regards to Krivas versus Vesar. And, I know Kevin and I contributed a lot to those talking points in the offseason. And it's kind of crazy to see the way that this season ends with Vesar missing free throws and turning the ball over. And he had a great game in that game versus VCU. But at the end, it was people, kind of pointing at him. And then Krivas in this one, his rebounding being a huge reason as to why you ultimately get the job done and you get the W and you escape the upset bid from a really good Utah State team. But another reason for that was, of course, the closer, the guy who shows up in all these big moments. And we have Ivan Kharchenkov talking a little bit more about JB and what he does at the end of games.
No, I mean, fuck. Every time I look up, it's a switch. So I mean, no, I mean he can do it all, and he's clutch. He's making those shots.
Yvonne, this is a family program, brother.
Oh,
Hello.
I love it.
You've been on
He's
here
like, bro,
before.
I mean,
we didn't let you say that last time. Why do you think we say it now?
No, listen, Kevin, you are not going to shame my man for being outside of the box. Damn it. Okay? We just talked about this. I don't want the cookie cutter answer. So let my man live. Okay?
I want the
if he
answer
wants
that's
to drop
gonna
an
let us stay
F-bomb,
monetized on YouTube, Saul.
no, listen, if he wants to drop an
Just kidding.
F-bomb, that's absolutely, like, listen, F-bombs are not going to stop us from getting monetized. I promise you that.
I'm both of you, the producer and Saul, being like, that actually wouldn't get us demonetized.
Yeah. Actually, you're wrong. But like, I love that answer because I mean, sometimes we're just sitting here on the sideline or you're watching on TV and Jaden does something and you're like, what's the thing you say? You're like, man, fuck.
Literally.
How many times is he going to show you that he's that dude? Like, and then he's getting an MVP chance at the free throw line tonight.
That was awesome. Have you ever heard that happen before, Saul?
Never.
Like, even at McHale, I don't know the last time I've heard like MVP chance for somebody. That wasn't Jaden Bradley.
Not to that degree. Not to that degree, especially not in a tournament. That was awesome.
Now, Saul, I did want to ask you, or we do have one more thing. We have, I believe, Awaka on JB as well. Here's Tobe talking about the closer.
Yeah, that's just his character. That's just who he is. Like he's shown it time and time again, and it's super impressive. He has cold blood in those games.
I mean, that's just who he is. That's just what he does. That's JB. You see what I mean? See the difference in the clips, Kevin?
I was not saying Yvonne's answer wasn't good. I was just saying this is a family program from time to time.
But is it though?
In my head, I
Damon's
think of
over
it as
here.
one.
Damon's over here making fun of people from Arkansas because they can't spell, for crying out loud. Like, like is
But he
this a
didn't
family
say
program?
any curse words, Saul.
He said Darnell, and then but he left out Daryl. Because I guarantee you, Daryl or Joe Bob are two that are definitely Arkansas names. Absolutely.
They're 47th in education, Saul. I'm not just making this up out of thin air, brother.
Well,
we might be 48. We might be 48.
We're 50th. I think we're 50th.
We're state 48, guys. State 48.
Yeah, Arizona. I do think Arizona's
way.
last in education.
Saul, before we get to more Arkansas stuff, because that is where I want to go next, the obvious next place is to talk Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas, and Arkansas. But do we have anything in the notebook from this game? We still need a graphic for that. I will cook something up for the notebook. But what do you got in the notebook tonight?
strong contingent of Arizona fans. They traveled very well. I expect them to travel well to San Jose. Not a lot of star power today. I think everybody's expecting that to be in the next round because, I think everybody's kind of saving the juice for that. I expect to see, big time Arizona alums out in San Jose. So that'll be fun. Talk
Like
to
Richard
Richard
Jefferson.
Jefferson today. Yeah, talked to Richard Jefferson today and had a good conversation about, where this program's at. He's excited. He thinks that this team could do it. They have the ability to do it. And so I think that's great. Overall, this is the second time I've been here in San Diego. A little side nugget. This is an elite venue because of the sound and the way it bounces here in this arena. It was electric. That St. John's game winner was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. I was so happy I was able to finally see a close game that did not involve my team in the tournament. I feel like I have never gotten one of those, so that was fun. And overall, great experience. Time to move on. San Diego was good. And if you haven't had a chance, you should go see Project Hail Mary because that was good. I saw it last night.
Saul, you got to get a letterboxed,
Free
man.
promo.
Yeah, you got to get a letterboxed.
No
or
free
something.
ads, Saul.
Yeah, I mean, at least make it for like a 30 for 30 about the 90. First of all, we do need a 30 for 30 on the 97 team. Josh Pastner was saying that recently. We do need that.
First of all, I do this for the love. And so, Max Simpson can pay my budget if he wants to. And then I will listen to these promos.
I wanted to ask the question about you mentioned the Viejas Arena, and I've heard great things as well, similar things. I've heard that the sound particularly bounces extremely well off of the stadium and makes it sound really, really cool in there. Does San Diego State have like a top 10 low-key football and basketball combination stadium thing going in the country? Because we were talking up their football stadium during the Holiday Bowl being like, man, I wish that was Arizona Stadium. I wish it looked exactly like that. I wish we could just pick it up and take it to Tucson.
What if we took their stadium and put it
so-
over there? Sorry, a little SpongeBob reference. Sorry.
Let's just say pound for pound, size for size. I would say because I think this is only like a 12,000 seat arena, so it's not as big as McHale. It's smaller. Their football stadium, same thing, not as big as Arizona Stadium or Casino del Sol Stadium, smaller, but man, it's so well put together. And it's situated perfectly. It's the perfect size for what they have to do here. I think it just happens to be the perfect size for what we can do in Tucson as well. So I would say, yeah, like I think they have an elite setup here in terms of football and basketball venues. There's very few that are like it for sure. The only thing I don't like about this arena though is that, for the love of God, if you want to go to the concessions and you're on the bottom floor, you gotta go like 85 steps all the way to the top. And homie
like
last week,
Coliseum.
it's almost exactly like the Coliseum. And last week, I was at a Big Brothers Big Sisters event with my little, and I was playing flag football. And Saul's knees are not exactly where they used to be, and had me 2 picks against these little kids, and I kind of jacked up my right knee. So I've been kind of limping around here this whole week, trying to get up these stairs. I mean, I felt like I was climbing Mount Olympus. It was crazy, but I got through it. I survived. I made it.
I'm so happy you sacrificed your knees for this podcast, Saul. You know what I mean? Just you just walking up high elevations.
The Lord's work.
Just testing the joints all day, testing all the joints. But look, if you have not left a like on this video, we have almost 300 people watching. First of all, tell a friend to tell a friend about the AZ Wildcats podcast and tell that friend to leave a like. I want at least 150 likes before we get out of here. And if you hit the like button, you are what? Cue the He's a Dog sounder.
He's a dog, honestly.
Honestly, you're a dog if you leave a like on tonight's stream. So make sure to like, subscribe to PHNX Sports. We are so close to 51,000 subscribers. And what's next? 52. What's after that? 53. Closer to 100 every single day. Saul, can we talk a little bit of Arkansas?
I'm going to bow out of the Arkansas conversation because homie has a long drive back home. And I have
Give us one sentence on Arkansas. One sentence.
I have a post-game show or a post-game recap that I want to write. I will say this. Arizona will come with a plan for Darius Acuff. They have good players. They have athletic players. But I don't know if Arizona playing at better than they did today with a little bit of juice, a little bit of oomph. I don't know if Arkansas can really handle that. I could be wrong. Arkansas is a good team. Not trying to take that away. But I think they'll have a good plan for Darius Acuff, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you look at the way that this team has gone up against the high-level prospects that they've played against all season long. It feels like even if the guys that, like the Darren Petersons in that second game in Tucson, the one game he played against Arizona this year, even if he puts up a good amount of points, feels like Arizona's taken him out of his game a little bit, making life extremely tough on him, and then also kind of, turning it into a one-man show where other players on the team are not getting involved, therefore they're not getting their confidence up. I think this team is uniquely built to defend a Darius Acuff type of player. And so that's what gives me confidence that the Cats can get the job done. But I do think that he's the type of player where if you're trading shots and it's a one possession game late, that's about the worst possible spot to be in with a guy like that. So we're going to be breaking down that matchup from now until the game and can't wait to do so. Of course, Saul Bookman is going to break it down on his podcast, McHale Madness, which will be live on Tuesday this week at 7 p.m. It's regularly scheduled time. Saul Bookman, former Arizona Wildcat great Corey Williams, and of course the great Kevin Thomas as well, breaking down Arizona basketball at the highest level. And Saul, we wish you luck on your drive back to Arizona, my guy.
I appreciate it. I have some meetings at 9 o'clock in the morning, so hopefully I can make it back before then.
Oof. It's going to be a tough one, but the things we do for our Cats.
Saul does this on the side. His real job has nothing to do with this, so I still have to do that stuff, which is, it's always fun.
The things we do for our Cats, Saul, I'll say it again. It's 100% the truth. Sometimes it's stressful, but it's well worth it, and we appreciate you, Saul.
Sometimes you have to tough it out and come all the way out here to San Diego, and it's 75 degrees. It's brutal. It's, we're by the beach. It's,
all right,
it's
Shane, we can get him out, Shane. We can get him out. at Saul_Bookman for the guy on the beach. You got beach pics, Saul. Oh, put him on your Twitter.
Come on, man. Appreciate you guys.
Peace out.
Appreciate you, Saul.
_Bookman. Check out his recap article that he just teased there. Saul is doing that. I will not be doing a recap article because Saul's doing one, but I will be doing a preview of this Arkansas matchup to go up on our YouTube tonight, because we got 3 games, and I know everybody's going to want to be talking Arizona versus Arkansas, Acuff versus Burries, and Bradley, and Kharchenkov. Everybody's going to get a turn guarding Darius Acuff. I asked Saul, Damon, about the Arkansas matchup. You've given some takes, but any more further impressions on Arkansas or any more thoughts on the Utah State game?
Yeah, Shane, would you mind scrolling up a tiny bit here in the chat? I had bad news, according to Lost Highway. Koa Peat gave Jeff Goodman an interview. Kevin, would you mind telling the people? Maybe let's just go. We're in the new world. We went to the portal. Jeff Goodman is sitting down with Koa Peat.
Koa, you guys played a good game tonight. I'm honestly surprised that you guys pulled it out. Utah State, the Aggies, they're tough. Koa, you're tougher. Koa, what do you got? Koa, no, Koa, get over here.
I don't feel. Am I free to leave?
No, we have 3 more minutes in this basement, Koa.
As Kevin has stated, every Jeff Goodman interview is a hostage situation at the highest degree. So.
He gets great interviews. Maybe it's envy. Maybe it's Kevo Post. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Sean asking if they dropped the start of the game or the time of the game. Yes, it's on Thursday at 6:45 Arizona time.
Thank you, producer Shane. Everyone say thank you, Shane, in the chat for that one. Because I also did not know that as we are live right now. So that is huge.
And that works perfectly because the D-backs don't have a game at 5 p.m., 5:30 p.m. or anything.
No, yeah, it's not opening day.
Oh, whoa. Is that actually opening day?
Yeah, it is.
So Damon can't be on the post-game show.
Bro, can we just have stuff? Can we have stuff not overlap with basketball?
No.
We got spring football starting. We got baseball starting. Can y'all just wait a damn minute, man?
Pause for a second.
For
please.
real. My team is on a run. Watch the D-backs pod, though. You know what I'm saying? But, like,
maybe after you watch our show live.
Yeah, I want to talk basketball.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think we do have a super chat as well while we're in the chat. We do have a super chat.
We do.
I think we have a few.
Oh, wow. We do have a few.
Yeah.
Jane Fairall, Damon's mother. Feels weird just reading the full government name of your mother on the podcast. But second round W, bear down. Anything to say to your mom? You can just text her, I guess.
Hi, Mom. I hope your trip to Austin was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, just got back tonight. We got Kevin as well in the chat, $4.99, BTFD, and on to the Sweet 16. Need to have a bounce back game from Delhi and Kharchenkov next week. they seemed off tonight. And that's honestly something that we did not hit on, Kevin, on this show. And a decent point by Kevin. I thought Del Orso was, quite frankly, horrific tonight. What are your thoughts?
That Delhi was pretty bad tonight. Yeah,
it was.
He's had a great season so far. Tonight was not his best night,
and he's had a good stretch here, but he didn't really do anything in that first tournament game, at least to my remembering. And then this second one, I felt like he was the worst player in the rotation. Dwayne Aristode gets in, makes a 3. We know he's good at defense. He only plays 3 minutes. Kind of a shocker. Kind of felt like maybe he deserved a little bit more run in this one, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that Anthony Del Orso, not his game tonight. And the second he came out of the game felt like the second that Arizona kind of turned it up and iced it. And that's when they started being able to break a press, and JB and Brayden Burries started making shots again. Not to say that that's because Del Orso went off the court, but it's, correlation. Is it causation? Maybe.
Yeah, I think, I have not been one to really throw Delhi under the bus this season. I was last season. He's improved a lot this year and has become a lot more playable out there. Tonight, he was not his best, specifically in press scenarios. I think back to one time where he literally just accepted being in the corner and getting trapped, and with his back turned to his 2 options of teammates. And you can't do that. You just simply can't do that. I also think of when he was double teamed in the corner, took 2 dribbles back out to the corner, watching the double follow him, and just threw it into the middle of the paint. And Tobe Awaka's down there somewhere. That's not, or I think it was maybe Mo. That would make more sense if you're just throwing it up to Mo. But you know what I mean? Just too much indecision from Delhi tonight. Not his best night. He will bounce back, in my opinion. But yeah, not his best night. Kharchenkov? Pardon me. That was a huge dramatic pause there. Kharchenkov, and then just didn't say anything. But he didn't start out well tonight. In fact, he finished 3 for 11 from a shooting perspective. But I felt like the shots he took, I know they were sometimes crazy layups, but he makes those half the time. I didn't necessarily hate the looks. In fact,
we got a gun out of Kharchenkov, which is
true,
always fun.
We did get a
natural
guns.
shooter emote.
Yeah, I think that he, just the shots didn't fall tonight. He did not play his best game, his cleanest game. I think the standard for him has become so high that when he does have a median / slightly below average type of, Texas Tech down 32 per Claus plays. But when he does have a below average for his standard kind of night, it can really, skew things. But I think, he did contribute 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He turned the ball over twice, but yeah. Ivan turned the ball over way too much today. He had 2 turnovers, which I think goes to show the standard that we have for Ivan Kharchenkov's game. We expect him to play psychotically perfect basketball. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying we expect him to play elite basketball, but we expect him to not make brain errors. We expect him to not make simple mistakes. And tonight he made some of those. And I'm sure he's going to clean it up. So yeah, Delhi, Kharchenkov, not their best nights, but 2 guys that I think have shown enough to earn the trust of the fan base that they will bounce back and continue to contribute.
I think also different levels of poor play tonight. Kharchenkov was at least contributing out there. It felt like Del Orso really didn't give you much of anything. And
he's going to defend too.
Yeah, and Delhi has had those moments this year where, it feels like we're not getting anything out of him right now. He's had extended periods of time where it felt like, he was kind of playing like he did tonight. So I won't lie. I got the panic button for the Del Orso panic button sitting right here on the table next to me. I'm kind of eyeing it. I'm peeking at it a little bit, Kevin, just being is he going to play Big 12 tournament Delhi, or is he going to play second half of Big 12 play Delhi? Because that's a huge difference for what I think the ceiling of this team could be, right? I don't know that it's necessarily the floor as much, but I think that it is the ceiling. And so I hope that he figures it out and kind of gives us what he had been giving us the last couple of weeks, which is the best play of maybe his entire Arizona career.
To be honest, I left my Delhi panic button at home. I think it's in the closet right now. I think, in my opinion, this whole team, Damon, they have earned my trust, right? Anthony Del Orso was, I think, maybe the last guy to do it just because of what happened last year. And maybe Mo Krivas. But you know what I mean? Because of what happened last year, there were certain guys on this year's team where it's okay, I trust you, but to what extent? I pretty much fully trust Delhi now, right? And by that, I mean, I'm not going to have the panic button out or even in with me on my person, because he has shown what he can do in the Big 12 tournament. And I think because we know he has that in his bag, he has the UCLA performance in his bag. We know he can step up when he's needed. It's almost like if you're fully healthy and you don't necessarily have a game where you're like coming into it like, man, we need Delly today. It's almost like he's like, all right, they didn't need me. I'm just going to kind of hoop. I'm not saying that's his mentality. But in these big moments where you really need Delly, it feels like he's always stepping up. So I'm not saying you're a crazy person. I think, you said it's over there.
Yeah,
you can still see it.
It's just sitting here. My hands aren't even touching the table. Listen, I'm over
Officer,
here.
Both my hands. You see both my hands. Panic button's over there. But no, like mine's at home. I'm not panicking. I will say, like, when Utah State cut it to like 4 in the second half, this is not a Delly thing. This is a team panic button thing. I thought about calling my girlfriend and at least like having her pull up FaceTime so I could see the panic button. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, is the panic button where I think it is in case I need it? You know what I mean? Like, can you maybe press it for me if it's not with me? Like, but yeah, I trust this team so much, man. I really
calling
do.
up your girl. Hey, can you please get that out of the closet? Maybe drive it down to the office.
My college basketball team is struggling in the second half against Utah State, the Aggies, by the way. Would you like to deliver that 20 minutes to downtown? But no, yeah, like Glenn kind of says there, as crazy as he is, panic button in the glove compartment. I'm with you. Like I left it in the car. It's not in the building with me. And I feel safe about this year's team because even when they don't play well, they find ways to win.
They absolutely do. We got one more super chat here from our guy AZ Catch G, who always beats the buzzer. Go Cats, great show, guys. Straight from San Diego. Of course he was, Kevin. AZ Catch G, if the Wildcats are playing a game, he's likely in attendance. It's death taxes. AZ Catch G is watching his Wildcats somewhere in the world here. So appreciate you, my guy. As always, much love to our super chatters, and much love to anyone who has checked out our new merch that we have dropped on the ALLCITY locker, ALLCITY Network locker. Because guys, we have some brand new Arizona Wildcats shirts that our guys up there at the ALLCITY Network worked very, very hard on. Can't wait to get these in our person. I have mine. It is on the way, Kevin. I got the Wildcat podcast logo wearing the headband. It has since been shipped.
That's my favorite pick.
It's on the way for March.
That's my favorite pick is the Wildcat Pod logo there as well. But I will go ahead and drop the link in our chat so that everyone can go check out these wonderful shirts on their own. But Damon, dog, do you have any more thoughts on this here game while we work on getting the shirts pulled up here?
Yeah, I think there's the shirts. We got them here. I got that one on the left. I got the headband shirt.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful. We got the We Run Things shirt with the state outline. Of course, Embrace Chaos 2026 March Madness shirt. Get any of these for $34.99 on the ALLCITY locker. Appreciate everybody for your guys' continued support of this podcast. Kevin dropping that link in there in the chat so you guys can go ahead and click on that link and get access to those pieces of merchandise. We love you guys. We appreciate everybody for watching this show. We are not quite at our 150 like goal.
Shame.
Can we get there? Can we get there at the tail end of this podcast?
Who are our 18 heroes?
Yeah.
Who are the 18 heroes?
The 18 strong.
The dogs.
Who are going to take this thing to the next level.
While we get those 18 likes in here before we get out of here, Damon, I will say this much. Tap in with our YouTube channel. What time is it right now? 9:04 Mountain Standard. We will have that out tonight, the preview of the Arkansas matchup. So all the sickos that are up late watching basketball tonight can just roll from YouTube TV over to YouTube and do what they got to do. Or Sling TV if you're, doing what you should be doing. But you know what I mean? Slide on over to YouTube tonight. Keep an eye out for that. And we will have you covered with all your Arizona-Arkansas preview. Can Arizona slow down? Because we know you can't shut down Darius Acuff. And, while we have Shane here, can we utilize his big brain, Damon? Because our chat, Shane, for months now, a handful of people in our chat have been trying to work out a call-in segment where they could maybe call in. And me and Damon were thinking we could have them record a voice memo and send it over so we could first screen it. So none of you lunatics could say anything crazy on our airwaves. Yeah. But if we did do something like that, would that be plausible?
Yeah, that's easy. I've always been hesitant for a call-in segment for those reasons that you just said.
Yeah, you can't have lunatics on the airwaves.
Yeah.
How did we get here?
This is an offline conversation we can have.
I was going to say,
but it is plausible.
I am the chief lunatic.
Within reason.
As chief lunatic, I would like to say that, sometimes you do need lunatics on the airwaves.
Yeah. Well, now that you've heard it from the man himself, the powers that be, it is plausible, But if y'all get crazy, no, cannot happen.
Also, chat, I've seen just a ton of A-Cuff stuff in the chat. I've not seen Malik Thomas once.
Or Trevin Brazil.
And if you want to Google his highlights, it's MELEEK.
Okay.
And also his best friends on the team.
Yeah.
That is true.
That's my
42 Doug is 42 Doug himself.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Absolutely.
Take us home.
As our guy Max put here up in the chat a little bit earlier ago, A-Cup versus Arizona is Thanos versus the Avengers. And it's time for the Avengers to win like they always do, Kevin. Let's get out of here on that. Yeah.
I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that movie.
You didn't watch Endgame?
I did, but didn't they all spoilers? Didn't they all die?
Spoiler alert, one of them died.
Oof.
One main character died. Yeah.
Who's
gonna
die on Thursday?
Who's gonna die?
Yeah, what?
Who needs to die to get Arizona to the Elite Eight? That's the question that is going to be asked.
We've gone too far.
We're going to be talking about that all the rest of this week and lead up to Arizona's Sweet 16 matchup against Arkansas on this very same channel. Subscribe to the network if you have not done so already. Like this video. Let's get those final 8 likes in right here as we outro. Follow me at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. Follow him at KevoPost. That's KEVOPOSTS. Don't follow Shane because he doesn't care about Twitter anymore, really. And follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all social media. We love you guys so much. Appreciate everybody for watching. Thank you to Saul Bookman for all of his great work covering this team all season long with his boots on the ground coverage. It's been fantastic. We love you, Saul, and we love everybody who watched this one. So peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. We're going to the Sweet 16, baby.
We all silly like the mayor.